and gentlemen, welcome to Shades' Soapbox, and fuck my OBS! God fucking damn it. So, we've been talking for the last 20 minutes, and now just realized we were never live to begin with. For some reason, even though I had everything was looking like it was working, Twitch wasn't live. What the fuck? Anyway, I'm the Shades, and allow me to once again introduce my guest for this evening. Of course, our guest of honor is the one and only VixenShelby.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me, Shades.
Thank you. We also have Mildred the Monk.
Is Twitch in your book of grudges?
It's getting there. And lastly, we currently have Akira Coops with us.
Yo, I'm CIA.
Oh, yeah, thank you to Monk for pointing out that we weren't live and Coops confirming. I was like, so we've already started talking about a little bit of this, so we're going to have to talk about it all over again, which I'm sure Shelby is just going to be so happy about.
To be fair, it's just a practice.
Yeah,
Yep.
Practice run.
Good little warm-up.
Practice run.
You know how you get into Carnegie Hall, right?
Yeah. All right, so before we get into this, obviously we need to explain what this is about for those who are new here, for those who have not followed me recently. Basically, in a previous soapbox, I talked about the story involving Bunny Ayumi, aka Bunny GIF, and the allegations being made against her with receipts that followed from several different other cosplayers and VTubers in the community. And of course, one of them is our good friend Shelby here, who we've worked with in the past over on amongst TRPG streams. So how this came about basically was about a couple days ago, after a week or so of posting my video, Shelby actually got back in contact with me to thank me for, sending support and everything like that, and we got to talking, and I just came up with the idea of, you know what, let's give Shelby an open platform to get every last little bit of this out of her system, just get it out, so that she can finally just completely move on, and we'll even take some time to promote her cosplay work. Because that's what she should be remembered for, not all this bullshit. That being said, we do have some ground rules for this evening. Number one, we're not talking about any of the other girls involved tonight, so no Lena Lazar, no Jenna Meowery, no Cinnocent, no Susu especially, because she's wanting to keep her side of the story to herself for now. When she wants to reveal it, that's her choice, not ours. And to that same effect, we are going to be opening up questions, but we would like to keep your questions limited to just Shelby's side of the story. Do not ask about anybody else. We will not answer that. And of course, Shelby has the right to refuse any questions asked of her. She doesn't want to answer anything, she doesn't have to. And we will skip accordingly. If you got any of my regulars over at Tokurus Live, same system as basically the intermission. We have the channel points in the bottom left-hand corner of the chat window, where you can ask a question through that. This way I can keep track of all the questions being asked and make sure that they all get answered accordingly. Or skipped accordingly, depending. And last, of course, no harassment. This is something I made explicitly clear in my soapbox, but I'd like to reiterate it here. It does not matter what you learned about Bunny or anyone else involved tonight. Do not go harassing any of them. No threats, especially. This is not how we do things. We are simply sharing our Shelby's side of the story. That is where it stays. So, let's get all that cleared up. That way,
Let me find out one of y'all did it. You guys are gone, bruh.
Yeah, if we find out any of you sent any harassment or threats to Bunny or any of her friends involved in this, you are no longer a part of this community. Period. Straight up.
Just give him 5 minutes with me in a cage, and let's see how things play out.
I trust me, folks. I'm a pretty decent sized guy. I have to look up at him. You do not want to fuck with that.
Nope.
Just be aware that once the cage door closes, I am not to be held responsible for anything that happens.
Trust me, you will be forced to sign a waiver. Great minds think alike, right, Shel?
Yep.
I love it.
Sign your life away.
Yeah, literally in this case. Anyway, all right, so let's start this over from the beginning. Shelby, once again, please let everyone. Let's talk about how you and Bunny first met.
So I met Bunny for the first time in real life. Mind you, we were like in group chats before because we were like, oh, like it was like a bunch of cosplayers and whatnot, like sharing stuff or like talking about ideas, things like that. Anyway, October 2017, by we, I mean Susu, Bunny, and I went to the Stanley Comic Con together. And upon meeting her, she seemed like a really nice person. She was more on like the cutesy side. Um, it was, to be honest, like a pretty nice first time meeting them. You know what I mean? Uh, so nothing seemed wrong at the time.
Yeah, like we mentioned, like we were talking about before, we actually went live. That's tend to how it be for anybody. Like when you first meet someone the first
Yeah.
time, they're gonna put out the version of
feelers.
themselves they think people will like.
Yeah,
the
exactly.
feelers.
Well, it's like, it's like let's see what they got going on first and see what I can get away with.
You know, not even myself, who is, you know, you hear me in streams and in videos. I'm this very forward, upfront, very outspoken guy. You meet me in real life for the first time, I'm gonna be very fucking reserved. I'm gonna be like, oh, hi, nice to meet you. You know, I'm gonna be a little nervous,
Yeah, exactly.
honestly.
You wasn't very reserved when you and I met.
That's because I'd already known you as a person online, so it's like, okay, you know. But I'm talking like if I'm going to a con and I go to meet and I'm introduced to somebody who I've never met before, I've never talked to before, yeah, I'm gonna be a little reserved.
Yeah, you can have a little bit of extra filter instead of just untapped.
Yeah, exactly. By the time you and I met last year, I'd known you so well. I was already cool with you, so I didn't have to worry about that. You knew who I was. Anyway, so yeah, obviously first starting out, obviously Bunny was going to be doing the same thing, putting out the feelers, kind of getting a feel for who you were, and how you were, and what they think they could pull off later on down the road. Like how basically, why this is just an assumption, but I wouldn't be surprised if she was thinking, I wonder how I could use her later on.
I mean, potential. I mean, I can't say what's going on in her mind, but that's definitely something that was a possibility going on in there. But
yeah, again, we're not gonna. We're merely speculating here, folks. Do not take that as fact. But it wouldn't surprise me either. That being said, I think we need to start really digging in a little deeper in here. Describe to us again, what was the first red flag? What was the first time you were like, wait, something's wrong here?
So in like retrospect, when I was like looking through it, Akon, I can't remember what year. I think it was like 2018, 2019 maybe.
Probably.
Anyway,
yeah.
Akon. When I went to that con, it was like a group of friends. I can't name everyone. But it was also Bunny, Sue, and myself. So there was some kind of weird interpersonal happenings going on between them. And Bunny wanted us to kind of feel for her in a way. Sue had done nothing to her, mind you. She was mad that Sue wasn't doing something that she wanted and wasn't giving her the emotional kind of response she wanted. She wanted to be coddled. She wanted to be she wanted Sue to concede to what she wanted, to say that she did something wrong when she really didn't. And mind you, this was happening like in the middle of the con floor. We kind of had to hide behind a artist booth because Bunny was having she was crying. She was having a small emotional.
She was throwing a temper tantrum is what she was doing.
Essentially, when you look at it now, yeah, definitely that's what was happening. And I was like, oh, we should not be doing this in public, ladies. This looks really, really bad, and
Yeah.
people are watching you. So we should probably deal with this in private. Unfortunately, Sue did end up having to apologizing to Bunny, and then everything was fine after that. After they went away and then came back and everything was okay. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, I guess we're fine now. But in like retrospect, I was like, okay, why did we need to do this at a con for one? Two, why did we have to try to, as a group of people, try to get Sue to concede to Bunny like, you did something wrong, when really she didn't. Sue did nothing wrong. And why Bunny felt we needed to we needed to side with her. It's like, oh, that's bad.
That to me would have been like, excuse me, because like, why would you need to badmouth, shit talk, and try to put down your own fucking girlfriend, for fuck's sake?
Well, at that point, she wasn't saying anything bad about her. Not like later on.
Well, not yet, later on, but like,
yeah,
just,
exactly.
Just putting her down and basically trying to make her feel she was wrong.
Yeah, to like gang up your friends against your partner and her friends. You know what I mean? So it's like, oh damn, I'm so sorry, Sue.
Yeah,
that's how. Yeah.
The question that kept popping up in the back of my mind is, with all of that, how is it that the two of them were able to actually date?
That's the thing, Monk. The thing of it is that based on how things seem to have progressed, that kind of abusive relationship, when the dominant person in that relationship keeps putting you down, you tend to just start to get this idea of, maybe this is all I can get. Maybe this is as best as I can do for a couple. So they just accept it after a while. We've seen it time and time again with abusive relationships where the abused basically just accepts that this is the way things are going to be for them from now on.
Sunk cost.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose the one question that I feel I need to ask, putting aside the fact that now I mentioned this before we had our mishap, that I did feel like a bit of a dick because of how much I was cracking the whip regarding the Doomsday Dawn campaign, largely because of some other problems that I was having, some of which we've kind of dipped into it, but I'll just simply say, if you know, you know.
Yeah,
and
sorry.
What I feel I need to ask is what would you consider the canary in the coal mine? In hindsight, I know we mentioned that whole convention incident, but I'm more curious about what the breaking point was.
Oh, like the full nail in the coffin, like, oh, something is wrong here?
Yeah.
Yeah, because when I was looking at before I had a full timeline of events, thanks to other people when I was doing my own research, when this thing went down, I remember looking at the timeline as it was just from what I had at the time, where you have the two of them. There's the relationship thing, then a bunch of cosplayers get together to do Cherry Bomb, and given certain other internet groups that I saw, I had the feeling that was going to implode very quickly, and I don't relish being right all the time. But it does happen. So getting back to that, what was the final nail where it was like, okay, this person is not going to change, and they need multiple layers of help.
Well, I mean, the last bit, but like when I started, it was like, oh, there's something like seriously wrong here. Was PAX West in 2019, and that was kind of the precursor to why, like, besides, like, I wanted to figure out if I want to live in Texas or not.
Yeah, I do remember there was that push.
Yeah, very, like, all the time. PAX West, how I don't want to go too in detail, obviously, because I want to respect Sue's privacy, but Bunny was saying very, very, what I'd come to find out, untrue things about her. And that was another reason why I wanted to go to Texas, because if all these things were happening, like she was claiming, and I get there, and they're not there, that basically cemented, like, the suspicions I was having at PAX West. And I was like, wow, we're talking a lot about Sue here, and not in a very kind light either. And I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna go down there basically and make sure she's okay. Uh, there was a lot of conversations that I had between Bunny and myself. There's a lot of stuff I can't share because it's extremely personal to be just like flaunting on the internet.
Understandable.
But yeah, no, how she was talking about Sue made me kind of concerned. Because I was like, oh no, there's something like I was giving Bunny the benefit of the doubt that she wasn't lying to me because she was my friend and she was dating my friend. So I had that in mind when I went and visited, and a lot of things did not match. So that was also like, oh, this is very, very bad.
Yeah, you mentioned that in your story post that basically, yeah, she was constantly saying shit about Sue, putting her down, berating her, trying to turn everyone against her, and then of course the stuff she did to you specifically, which I think is just as equally as bad. Like when I read about what Bunny was doing with your partner, I just sat there like, what the fuck?
Oh yeah, he's still really kind of fucked up about it.
Yeah.
Cuz he I mean, he was sexually molested by someone that was supposed to be my friend, and then to be like, I never did that. It's upsetting because she sure as shit did do it. I literally watched her.
There were witnesses.
Literally witnesses. In fact, right now we're looking for the birthday card they gave him because they did make a birthday card saying "Party your penis off." And they just met him. They just fucking met this man.
That's what really boggles me. Like if you're at a level of friendship where you know they'll be comfortable with shit like that, fine. You know what? Fuck around a little bit. But if you've just met them and you're pulling shit like that off, that leaves a very bad first impression.
Yeah, and he was like so because he was always afraid because fuck it. She would walk around her house. Yes, it is her house. I totally understand that, but she had guests over. She was walking around with like no pants on. She had like a big shirt, no pants on. I'm like, oh god. So he was like literally afraid to accidentally look at her. So yeah, I was like, oh Jesus, I wish you would have told me about that. So I could have said something on your behalf because you were uncomfortable, babe. You say something.
He's trying to be a good partner, goddammit.
I know, that just made me feel terrible because I was like, oh, well, if I'd known that, I definitely would have, like, hey, but I realize we're visiting you, but my partner doesn't want to accidentally upset you by looking at you like this,
Yeah.
Not to sexualize you, but like, the fear, because like other incidences that she's had throughout her career would leave a male to be understandably sometimes a little unsure.
Yeah. I mean, he doesn't want to get called out for being something he's not. Like, that's just like...
Yeah, or accused falsely of things.
Yeah, exactly. Because, that's the funny thing. Like, obviously, yes. What happened? This getting looked at by women getting looked at by creepy guys is a thing. Like, nobody's disputing that here. But the idea that the reverse problem exists, where false accusations. If you think there aren't false accusations, you're lying out your ass.
Oh yeah,
and I
absolutely.
got a bridge in Brooklyn to sell you.
Exactly.
Oy.
Exactly. That's why, and so that's why some guys do legitimately have to watch their step, because you never know when some girl has just decided they're going to be a bitch and throw that kind of accusation out there, and that's just as damaging as if the girl was actually getting creeped on. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
or reversing it after rejection.
Yeah.
That's another thing. It's like, oh man. But that goes for either gender or any.
Oh, absolutely.
You never know.
You never know. That's something that you always have to be very careful of. But at the same time, you need to be willing to stand up for yourself if someone is creeping up on you or is falsely accusing you. You got to be ready to stand up for yourself. And that's and this poor guy was just trying to be careful because he didn't want you thinking anything, because he obviously seems like a pretty decent guy.
Yeah. Well, and then because we're like in a relationship where we're pretty open, and but he didn't want to think anything. He didn't want to think into it. You know what I mean? He didn't want to
Yeah.
think about that someone was being inappropriate to him.
Yeah.
In fact, how like she was claiming, oh, I got a hug. No, he made sure not to hug her and only gave high fives because he didn't want to accidentally cause a problem.
Right.
Props to the guy for, being trying to be honest and being a good guy. Like, God.
Yeah, because he wanted to make sure she felt like not like he didn't want to accidentally make her feel like she was being sexualized.
Yes, he didn't want her to feel like an object because, well, she's already
Yeah.
kind of, when you're putting yourself out there on the internet, you're already going to be facing that as it is.
Oh yeah,
Like, you
on
don't
a daily,
understand
you
that.
become objectified.
Yeah.
And you don't want your friends or people you just met to do that, especially when they're the partner of a friend. Yeah.
Exactly.
So
But,
he wanted to show that same level of respect.
and who knows? Like, for all we know, she could have probably thought about that and was doing this just to make sure she had blackmail material because at the rate we're going, she sounds like that kind of woman.
A little.
A little. Like, I'm not going to say
bit.
she did that. I'm saying it wouldn't surprise me if
Oh,
she did.
I was genuinely kind of surprised in her rebuttal that she didn't try to accuse him of anything, which was smart because that had been super fucking bad on her part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She
And I was
she denied a couple of
She-
things, but she did not go full accusation back.
she didn't. Yeah, she denied the actual like sexual harassment and like slight molestation part, but it was just only hugs and high fives.
Mm.
We're all liars.
Yeah.
Oh. Yes, liar's paradox and all that, but
Mhm.
the vibe that I get regarding that whole thing is first off, and this seems to fit the pattern. You know how much I love patterns
Uh-huh.
of someone who is not despite their career not all that mature.
Well, I think Shelby brought this up when we were talking to her the other day, was that she tries to portray herself as kind of a naive person, someone who doesn't, like a borderline idiot.
Like she's vapid.
Yeah, vapid. That's the good way to put it. And
Are we talking Valley Girl level?
from what I've seen, absolutely. Just from what I've seen on her
Yeah.
streams, absolutely, totally vapid. And
And it sucks because you go, Shade. Sorry.
I was just gonna finish up by saying that basically, I think at this point, she's done that gimmick for so long, it's actually become a part of who she is. Like, she actually is as vapid as she portrays herself.
Never work yourself into a shoot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Anyway, you were saying, Shelby.
Yeah, because like it sucks because like IRL, she was acting like that a lot. Actually, when we visited in Texas, she was doing that same persona in front of my partner and my brother, and we're like, "What are you doing? Why are you doing this?" Because when she would talk like her normal self, behave like not like Bunny Ayumi, she was like decent to be around. You know what I mean? It was not hard to listen to her then, but when she would try to go into her ooh woo thing, it was like, oh, damn it. Just talk like a human, please.
When you're on a stream, yeah, obviously you need to have at least some kind of persona. You got to have something, some kind of energy to you in a character, which is, like how I am here. I'm a lot more out there with how I act, how I talk. I put a lot more emphasis in my voice. When I'm talking normally, I mean, yeah, I still have a little bit of that, but I tend to dial it back a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I think she's just fine. At that point, it felt like she felt the character was her. She was the
If I
living
may be
embodiment.
so bold, I can't help but suspect that the character had become a security blanket a la Linus.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Like whenever
I mean, she had to.
Sorry, go ahead.
You go first.
All right. I think that was a way of her basically whenever she felt like she was under fire for any reason, even if it was a minor one, that was her way of trying to deflect any kind of negativity that was, even criticism. She could just go, it's like, oh, woe is me, and, you have to, like, oh, she's so innocent. No, she's not.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh, yeah. Well, she gives away facial expressions really hard. So whenever something bad or like something not to her liking would happen on stream, it was very obvious. But yeah, I mean, that's why after she just basically imploded in the cosplay community and the aero modeling side, she bailed into the VTubing stuff to basically try to separate the whole issue she was causing so she could have like a brand new start, is essentially what it felt like.
And on top of that, like, as you just said, she, her facial expressions often gave her away. What better way to hide those facial expressions than behind an avatar?
Yeah, exactly.
See, you're thinking here. You get to thinking about that. Like, that anonymity of being a persona behind a virtual image instead of being out on camera. You can get away with a lot of shit you normally couldn't.
Oh, yeah. Well, then it separated her real life known image that was related to her previous work to her now current suitable for work kind of stuff. So that way it wasn't easily identifiable that she just straight bailed. She switched from Bunny Ayumi to Bunny GIF, like just complete overhaul.
And I'm honestly surprised that somebody who tries to jump into characters to escape responsibility was so willing to try and jump into my territory.
Yeah.
And if it seems petty that I'd bring that kind of thing up, well, one, yes, it is, and my reputation for pettiness is legendary, as you all know, especially you, Shades.
I wasn't even gonna question it.
But I bring that kind of thing up because of the amount of coordination and the amount of people being on point that you need in order to do a consistent campaign.
Yeah. Also, I have to take I had to take at least a second to comment because while nobody's talking in the chat, I do see some people hiding in there. I see a particular name hiding in that chat room.
We appreciate our lurkers.
Oh, yeah, there's a particular lurker that I'm not gonna say who it is, but I see you hiding in there.
Don't think we don't know.
Don't think we're not paying. Don't think I'm not watching. we got some high end names hiding in our chat right now, but you know what? This is a big freaking deal, so I can understand. Also, hey there, Maestro, one of our fans.
Hi, Tragedy.
Anyway, yeah, like this whole thing, like, one thing I've been saying a lot lately when it comes to being a content creator is if you're going to be a content creator of any kind, I don't care who you are, you have at least a touch of narcissism in you. You're going to be a little narcissistic because the whole point is you want people paying attention to your stuff.
Yeah, you kind of get a little bit of an ego. You
Yeah.
just don't want to trip off your balls with it.
That's exactly it. You don't there's a level of narcissism you have to be careful not to reach.
Yeah.
You know.
Still gotta stay a little bit humble.
Yeah.
But you have to like your stuff at least a little bit to keep that drive going. But too much is bad.
Absolutely. Also, Kai Sparta, thank you for the follow. Welcome to my madness. Also, hello there, Tragedy Hentai. Glad to have you here. Yeah, like, just... it really amazes me.
It's so messy.
It really is. Like, it amazes me that people... The idea of having to be successful by putting others down, like, intentionally and maliciously. Like, you can talk about, feuds online where people are sending beef back and forth, but it's all in good fun.
Yeah.
But when you're maliciously putting someone down just for the sake of making yourself look better, I don't understand why you would do something like that. It just does. It never made sense to me.
Lack of morality, lack of ethics, respect for other people.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a
Go ahead.
You go.
No, you go ahead and take this one.
I mean, this is a consistent thing that she's been doing throughout time based on like everyone that's come out. And I know for a fact there are others who haven't. This is literally just a rinse and repeat over and over and over again. So yeah.
I know I use this phrase a lot. And spoiler warning, I'm going to keep using it as long as it keeps applying. But it's time for me to reference my little trinity. Once is an anomaly, twice is a coincidence, 3 times is a pattern.
And we are already past 3 times, and 3 consistent times. That's the key to this whole thing. This is the reason why we are so willing that even Monk here, who's usually not as quick to jump on shit like this, the fact that he's here tonight should tell you guys something, because one thing we look for when it comes to stories like this is consistency. If everyone's telling the same story, that usually means there's at least a grain of truth to it.
Yeah.
I do want to put one little asterisk on the whole telling the same story. The best way to describe it is when you have multiple roads that are leading to Rome in a kind of Venn diagram. If the stories start to seem a little too similar, then it's a little bit suspicious. But if there's a general ballpark that everything's going back to, or certain patterns start showing up, that's when I think that there's going to be a little bit of truth to what's going on.
And that's exactly what we saw with this situation. Is you're reading everyone's stories as I was looking through everything. I was seeing a lot of the same kinds of comments, even if it was from different perspectives and different situations. You were seeing the same things popping up in those stories, and that to me, and the only person whose story wasn't at least consistent with everybody else's is the one who's all these stories are being aimed at. So obviously they're going to be a little bit different. But
yeah, it's like we were honest about our stuff. There was information that is very personal, and for her to be like, yeah, I was a toxic person, it's like, okay, but you're not admitting to what you did wrong. That's just because you were toxic, you're not really explaining the things you did wrong.
Yeah.
To these people. Like, you can't just slap it on there and expect people to accept your apology.
No.
But yeah, and then to do the breakdown for everyone's statements.
Yeah, like
bad taste.
to give an example of how one should handle an apology or an admission of fault, I want to take a little personal story of mine, because I think this will give you a good example of what to do versus what not to do. So this happened many years ago. This was like 2012, 2013, roughly. We had gone through our second website. We'd had a lot of problems, even on the off. I had been through both a combination of my own ego and through other things. I had kind of been put into a leadership position at Reviewtopia/RVT, for those who know our history. And I'll straight up admit it, I was a shit manager. You know, I was supposed to be the one that was handling the business end of things, getting all the paperwork together and all that shit. Never did it. Never fucking did it. I just could not get myself to start that paperwork. Like, we were going to make RVT an official entertainment company. It never has become that. This has all just been a hobby group. So I was a shit manager, and I had to deal with a lot of the shit that happened as a result of the things we did there, including an infamous incident at MagFest where I ended up having to basically kick out. I was 2010 was when we started RVT, or Reviewtopia. Actually, no, 2011. 2011 is when we started Reviewtopia. You want? I'll look at the website if I have to prove my point. I'll talk about it later. Anyway, I will talk about it later. No, that was 2012.
Shades, we're breaking the first rule of television.
Yeah, I know we are.
Breaking the immersion.
Blame my wife. She won't let go. Anyway, it was actually
I'll blame
MacFest
her
20.
dice.
It was MacFest 2012 when shit really hit the fan because I had to kick out our only web designer, which good lord, that is a story in and of itself. But I got hate for kicking him out, and understandably so, because not everyone knew the story at the time, and a lot of people didn't know that he had done a lot of other shit. But I was the main guy. I was the leader of Reviewtopia/RVT. I had to take all the responsibility for that, and the fact that I didn't catch on and deal with it sooner is my fault. And there were things behind the scenes that I did that honestly just weren't very good. But I own up to that. I accept the fact that I fucked up. And considering I'm the only, I've been told by many of the producers in this group that I'm one of the only guys who could lead this group of crazies. Is the only reason I'm still in charge. If not for that, I'd have been gone. Like,
Of course, if you had been gone, I wouldn't have gotten dragged into things. And
exactly. But the point I'm getting at with all this is that I accepted that I messed up. I know I may not have been the only person who fucked up, but I fucked up, and I admit that. I don't hide from that fact.
I want to make one little point clear when it comes to that admitting you fucked up. That this is an extremely minor point, but it's one that can color things very easily. A common thing I've seen with people who do the South Park style "we're sorry" apology is that they will put in some kind of "yeah, but"
Exactly.
some kind of way to still try and frame the narrative the way they want, so that it's not completely their fault, or there was some external or internal factor, some asterisk, so they have the appearance of taking the blame or taking responsibility, but that appearance is skin deep.
Yeah. And even with Bunny's actual apology letter that she had originally put out before she did the full rebuttal, you got that vibe from her.
Oh yeah, it's all yeah buts.
If I'm being honest, I got that vibe when she did the whole "my DMs are open" kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
Because this is one of those cases where there's two things that are said in these kind of situations. There's what somebody is saying, and then there's what somebody is actually saying. And in the whole "my DMs are open" is very much a case of I am willing to have the appearance of talking, but I'm not willing to go out of my way to contact people that I screwed over.
Oh yeah, it's if you want your apology, you're gonna have to come to me for it.
Yeah.
And that is not how it works. Absolutely not.
And I don't want to bring up other people in this, but I feel in this case I have to. In some cases it's a little hard for them to do that when you still have them blocked.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, she refused to respond to me. I had to deal with her third party towards the end, and once she doesn't want to deal with you, she ain't dealing with you.
Yeah.
She will not talk to you. She will litigate it to OG to talk to you.
No.
And that's exactly what she did with Lena.
Mm-hmm. So, bit of a side story with OG, and this is a case of me dodging a bullet. I feel I need to bring this kind of thing up because up until this point I haven't talked about this. While I was never extremely cordial with him, there was a point in time where I was exchanging DMs with him regarding tabletop, and giving him advice. Usually advice about stuff outside of the big two, because well, it's me. And at one point or another, that particular trail went cold. there was no blow up or anything like that, and I didn't know his full culpability at the time. All I saw was just a moderator, and I've worked with moderators before. In hindsight, I consider it a blessing in disguise that, one, those talks never went any further than that, and two, I didn't try and DM for her or even code DM or some sort of advisor thing when she decided to step into my turf, because I guarantee you that would be the shortest job I've ever had in my life. But
Yeah.
the,
You go, Mildra.
but the whole my DMs are open and the way that apology was worded. I remember reading through a screen cap of it when I think it was either Tipster or False ID had covered the matter. And all that I hear in the back of my mind, for whatever reason, is that whole "we're sorry" bit from South Park. I don't know why that came up, but I'll be damned if it wasn't accurate.
Mm-hmm.
like,
And then just
sorry.
You go first.
This is becoming a thing now.
I know, right? We keep jumping on each
Okay.
other. But to me, like the first thing that came to my mind when I saw her, when I looked at this whole thing and I saw that my DMs are open thing, I said this in my video originally, and we're going to reiterate it here, is the idea of, oh, I get the feeling I know I'm about to get called out, so let me go ahead and try to see if I can nip this in the bud so that I don't get called out online and I can keep my reputation intact. That was the vibe I got immediately.
Let's keep this hush hush. Just come to my DMs so I know who I need to pariah, essentially. That's another way that it could be done. Because no one wanted to talk out against her because they were literally fearful for retaliation. Some of the girls I know were genuinely afraid to be doxxed by her.
I don't doubt it for a minute.
Especially since somebody who is that fixated on control of any form.
Oh, absolutely.
Probably adheres to the fair game philosophy, i.e., anyone who is critical of that person who has this policy. There is no tactic that is too low, or too uncouth.
Oh yeah.
And that the fact that she was as popular as she was, I mean, she is one of the, she may not be Yaya Han level popular, but she was a well-known cosplayer in the community before everything blew up. And that amount of popularity also comes with the clout that she could use to basically bully people around with, you know?
Oh yeah. So one of the things she would always say, like, in a way it was kind of like a veiled threat. She's like, I don't want to have this be public because I don't want my followers to do anything. Like, kind of insinuating, like, well, I don't want my fan base to do anything. It was like, what?
That's a real nice reputation you have. It'd be a shame if something happened to it.
Yeah, exactly. It was like, oh, that's like a veiled threat right there, lady.
Yeah. Oh, DJ Maestro, it's Yaya Han, H-A-N. She is, she's actually probably one of the, like, as far as cosplayers go, she's probably one of the most popular, to the point that she's been on national television.
She's like a godmother. She has her, oh, you go.
No, you're good, go ahead.
She's like the godmother of cosplay, especially like American-based cosplay. She has her own fabric line. She's had her own show on like Sci-Fi. She goes to a buttload of conventions. She has her own site. She makes all kinds of things. Like, she is cosplayer, essentially.
Fun fact, before she had blown up, I had actually met her at MetroCon back in 2009. Like, my very first MetroCon, she was a guest there. So I'd actually had a chance to talk with her for a little bit. From what little interaction I had with her, she was nice. I mean, I don't want to say, I have nothing bad to say about her, but, you know. But, like, the thing is that Bunny tended to act like she was at that level when...
Oh, yes.
Like,
Yes.
I was like, before I had learned about all this, I never really was a big fan of hers. For whatever reason, I did have like after I saw her hanging out with you originally, I did join her Discord server, and I just kind of left it there. I never really did anything in it, but
Yeah.
she did give me that vibe of she thought herself that big a deal. So that again,
You
that
still
really
shit at tongue twisters.
And of course, once she became a VTuber and she actually started working with like really big VTubers like VShojo, obviously that clout carried on. Like she continued to feel like she had that level of influence on everything that she could get away with so much shit.
But
exactly.
in that regard, you know how I often like to connect things that are going on with stories of the past, and the one story that's coming to my mind. Let me tell you about a man named Icarus. The man who thought, I'll make wings made of wax, and I will fly to the sun. If you studied mythology, you know how that went.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's a reason that's a common terminology.
Mhm. And in this case, what you have been seeing over the last 14 days is the wax on those feathers melting in the light of the sun. The sunlight, as I say multiple times, is the best disinfectant.
And she provided her own son to this particular situation, in fact.
Yeah, that
With
that
one
whole DM
post.
thing was basically her accidentally opening her own floodgates. Like she basically gave people carte blanche to call her out.
Oh, and the audacity to think that that she's owed a private conversation when that was already thrown out the window several times, and to not think that for this instance, she wouldn't be publicly accounted for. Like, okay, sure, you want DMs, but we know it's not safe to do that. We know you manipulated us. So, let's do it here. This isn't fair.
Yeah.
Never be the boy or girl who cried wolf, because when the wolf really comes for your farm, nobody's going to be there to drive it off so it doesn't eat all the sheep.
Yeah. And of course, the first person, while we won't go too deep into it, we'll at least go over what has been put out there. Of course, the first person to speak up was Lana Lazar. And her story, without question, was the most tragic when you think of what she's had to deal with since. I mean, obviously, we don't know Susu's story, and I'm almost certain hers is worse. But just from what Lana has shared, getting put into over $20,000 of debt because of Bunny's actions, or lack thereof in this case, was just heartbreaking to read.
Yeah, especially because it was like on a good faith and like a friendship level thing. Bunny does that a lot. She'll be like, "Oh, we're friends, we're friends, we're friends," and then all of a sudden, we're not friends. You were just doing this for me. Like stuff like that is like, oh, so you used the guise of friendship to get what you wanted. That's great. Thanks.
And the worst, actually, it's even worse here because it wasn't even because they were friends. It just so happened that Lena had done something for Sue, and Bunny wanted in on it.
Exactly, and she approached Lena.
It comes off to me like, well, a little sister complex.
There's a lot of complexes going on.
Oh yeah. I'd say the only one that there isn't in this case is a standalone complex, but that's a whole other. That's my. I already did my wrestling joke. There's my anime joke.
Actually, like, because of how greedy she was about that whole thing, you know who I compare Bunny to in that particular instance?
Midas?
No. How about Baruka fucking Salt?
Ooh.
I can go with that.
That's a really good analogy. Yeah.
I was gonna go with either that or Gordon Gecko, just without all of the savvy.
Definitely.
As much of a bastard as Gordon Gecko was, one can't deny that he had the skills.
Yeah.
And he was a manipulative shit, and the picture of a corporate raider of his era, but but you don't get that far without having some level of talent.
Yeah, he got his own shit done, not
Mhm.
having someone else completely do
And
it for you.
that whole thing of we're friends. If you don't mind, I'd like to put myself in the spotlight for a bit of contrast because of the people that I'm friends with. And I've told you about this, Shades, in the past. I always feel very weird whenever a tabletop friend of mine sends me a free copy of their work, or in the case of a certain guy in Greece, a physical copy of that work,
Yeah, I remember that.
which I didn't even ask for. It's just that he, as soon as we finished the interview, is like, "Hey man, what's your address? I want to send you I want to send you a physical copy." I was like, "Wait, what?"
What?
And a lot, and even with artists, there have been a few artists who I've worked with on commissions when it comes to characters, and sometimes they give me a freebie because by doing those commissions I've helped them develop, but I've never outright asked for a freebie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, when I had Lady K do her take on Alden, I didn't ask for that as a free. I didn't ask that to be a freebie.
No, you paid for that shit.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But you look at the contract that Lena worked up with Bunny. Bunny didn't have to pay a goddamn dime for that thing. In fact, she got paid to promote the damn thing.
Exactly. And like nowhere does Lena say that she expects Bunny to pay back that 20K. She was simply stating that this had happened, but for Bunny to falsely say that she was not paid and she was telling this to multiple people is a problem.
Yeah, where Lena actually provided receipts showing that she had PayPal'd the money to Bunny. You saw it clear
Exactly.
as day. So, yeah, kind of hard to take at your word when she's praying, no, here's proof that I paid you.
And I like how she didn't actually, when she was doing, to make sure my statements align with Lena's thing, didn't really go over that part
No.
too much.
Kind of
like,
skipped
oh,
around
weird.
that one a little bit there, huh?
I'll pay you back that money. No, 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 no. I don't care that you have the money. That was part of the contract. That is fair. Ugh. But you going and telling people that Lena almost financially ruined you and it was a company that saved you and that you were never paid, that was a flagrant lie. A flagrant lie.
And that's all right.
So,
That's all right. Lena's getting the last laugh because now everyone's working with her, and people are gonna be donating to her, and she's gonna get that money back before too long. I almost guarantee it.
yeah. Rightfully
Mhm.
so. Lena's a really great person, and she was one of the first people I kind of came out about my experience to, because I knew that she was kind of having a hard time with Bunny because how she was talking. Bunny was literally always complaining about Lena because obviously Lena's like, hey, I need those prints that are needed for our collab for your figurine. But it was always too much. It's like, she's expecting me to do too much. She wants me to do all these things. Why can't she do it? But it's like, buddy, that's part of the contract. Just like the cosplay we're supposed to be working on. It's
Why do
always too much.
I get the sense that she in her mind had this idea of, well, there's all these photos of me. You can use that as reference for this figure. I don't think
But
she
they didn't even do
realized how
that.
I don't think
I
she
mean,
realized how much goes into making one figure. And I'm not saying I'm an expert. I'm a tabletop guy, not a figurine guy. Um, but you're dealing with a lot of this kind of stuff that's essentially being made from scratch,
oh yeah.
Yeah.
and it's not something that you can just fabric up, especially at a time when 3D printing still wasn't as viable as it is now.
It's expensive as hell, man. I mean,
Yeah. and she was doing everything from the ground up. Like she was putting her heart and
Yeah.
soul into these things. Like
And working with another designer like Slugbox, I mean, she's not the easiest person to work with. Every collab, she wanted other people to put the work in more, or she wanted some pretty like unreasonable control or certain ways, because like obviously Sue's worked perfectly for hers. It looks like swimsuit succubus.
yeah, I've seen the figure. It looks amazing.
Yeah,
Probably
exactly.
because Sue was willing to play ball at every step of the way.
Exactly. Sue is very business savvy. She's very good at what she does. But she also picked an iconic look of hers. She picked something that she's done. Uh, it's recognizable within the community.
Yeah.
Bunny's, it didn't match any of her themes because like she never like stick on something for too long, you know. But it was like, oh, okay, it's like a cute design, but it doesn't scream bunny at you. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But that's how she wanted it, and she didn't like that it wasn't doing as well as she'd hoped. But if she had gone Susu's route and picked one of her well-known outfits or something, yeah, it probably would have done a lot better. But there was a lot of why she was getting mad at Lena in a way.
It's people who are fixated on a certain level of control
Yeah,
are tend to be the ones who will kick and scream the most if even a slight amount of control is taken away.
Mhm.
And the vibe that I get, and obviously I wasn't in any of those meetings, and if I was, I guarantee you wouldn't have to ask before anybody know about it because of how I am. Uh, but I can't help but get the feeling that there's this attitude of I am deigning, I am lowering myself to work with you. You should be grateful to work with the great
exactly.
Bunny Ayumi.
Yeah.
Exactly what it is. Like, no joke. You should be grateful. But it sucked because she'd always like rope Sue into it too. It's like we've helped you so much. Like that was one of the things she threw in my face. I was like, oh my god, the audacity. She's like, when we help people, and I was like, oh, I'm just a person. If I'd known that, I would not have traveled all the way here, all the way to Texas with my family. If I was just someone you were helping, or we don't want to get used. I'm like, when have I ever made you feel used? Whenever you gave me something, I gave. It was a give and take. So I'm like, wow. But yeah, everything you get is because of her. Everything.
Yeah. She
Which
seems like
I
the kind
get-
of person. She seems like the kind of person who is always looking for the easiest route possible. She wants easy street. And spoiler
yeah.
alert, ladies and gentlemen, that never fucking works.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta earn your shit, bruh.
If you want to be successful, you got to fucking work for it. I, as someone who's been at this shit for for over 13 years, I should fucking know. You got to work for your shit.
I haven't been at it at a full level as some of the other people in this, but I don't think anyone is going to deny my work ethic.
No.
If anything, the thing I hear most commonly from Shades, from Lady K, and from others is that I need to slow down.
He really
You
does.
still need to slow down.
You still need to slow the fuck down, man. You're going, you like you almost have an interview every single fucking day. I wish I could not keep up with that if I tried.
But I had set myself to a certain crusade, and well, there's a reason I use that Batman Begins quote at the beginning of some of my videos. That whole become more than just a man.
Yeah.
And that kind of dedication of making the monk into this legend has done well for me, but it's because of the fact that I'm always on it. I remember, I don't know who did this. I kept seeing this particular speech on various motivational YouTube videos about how you can't just kind of want it. You've got to want it more than you'd want sleep. And I don't think Bunny has ever had it in her to have that level of drive. Because if you look back, you see a pattern of her going on things because they're a popular thing in some form of media.
Yep.
Jumping onto cosplay and in general, and lewd cosplay in particular, because a lot of people were doing that and sharing that on social media. Jumping on the VTuber thing just as the notion of non-Japanese VTubers was starting to gain traction.
Yeah.
Where's the money at?
She's following where the money's going.
Literally.
And to be fair, a lot of successful people do that, but a lot of them are able to do it because they put the work in. Like, oh, this is the big trend, so I'm going to do that, but I'm going to give it all I got to make it the best version of that I can give.
Yeah, you want to entertain your community. You're like, oh, I see you guys like this. I'll try it. Why not?
Yeah.
Not against it.
I remember you and I, Shades, got in a bit of trouble when we did the VTubing episode on Geek Watch over a certain girl who dipped into VTubing for like a minute and then didn't stick to it, and we talked about that being an example of what not to do, which got some of her fans mad at us. to which I'm like, which I'm like, yeah, keep going. I normally have to pay for this kind of comedy.
Well, actually, it wasn't her fans. We post. What had happened was I posted it in a VTuber subreddit, and some people had some comments about what we said. Like they didn't outright they disagreed with us, to be sure, but I don't think they outright hated us for it. They're just like, well, I don't think you're entirely right about that, and I made some pretty strong defenses on that one.
Mm-hmm. But I did find it funny that was the stick in the craw, and I bring that kind of thing up because if I'm being honest, what we have seen right now is something that was going to be inevitable, and I would like to posit a bit of a prediction. In a few years, she's gonna try and do some kind of rebrand. Only this time it's not gonna stick. Jumping on a different thing. There's a small part of me that would laugh my ass off if she decided to rebrand using my turf, because I guarantee I'm gonna be sitting there waiting.
Know where she'd pop up next, because I mean, after the cosplay stuff, she did the VTubing and the whole fighting game community stuff. She just keeps burning bridges, man.
Yeah,
and
burns.
The fighting game community is not one that looks kindly on frauds.
No.
Believe me, we don't.
And even this, if there's the slightest smell of bullshit, you will be run out of town on a rail.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah, but with the VTuber community now turned against her, she's gonna have to deal with all that shit. And it's something we brought up. VTuber fans, the thing that really draws us in most is authenticity, and now she has been proven to be as inauthentic as you could get. That's gonna, she may still have her hardcore fans that will always love her. You can't really do anything about that, but you can imagine that fan base is going to drop because a lot of people. Yeah, go ahead.
It reopened the whole the wound for the cosplay community, the people that were affected by that, so many other communities than just the VTuber. It opened a whole can of the worms that she left in the can, even for her to have them interface.
Yeah, actually,
the worms are in such a sorry state. I'm pretty sure if you used them to go fishing, you'd get in trouble with the DNR.
Actually, let's go back to the cosplay community member because we were talking about Cherry Bomb earlier and how that whole thing
Yes.
fell apart. Tell us a little bit about that. Was that her doing? What was her involvement in that?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It was definitely her. Okay, so a little bit of context to it. The Cherry Bombs group was for us to stream on Twitch. That we were a group of streamers and we co-stream sometimes, stuff like that. It consisted of several members. The ones I'll talk about is like me, Bunny, Jen was in the group, Lena was in the group, Peach Jars was in the group, and along with Sue and a couple other people. Well, I'll skip to the part where it was we have a big blow up. In fact, this happened right after the Texas trip. Jenna wasn't sharing the posts, at least that's what Bunny was accusing her of not sharing Sue's post. When in fact, Jenna has, and she had been doing it. So the context of the group was always changing. Bunny would change, and it's like, oh, it's for streaming, it's for retweeting, it's for this or that. And so no one was ever really sure. That's why kind of like Lena was on the background. That's why she didn't felt like she was a part of it, because it was being highlighted like for cosplayers, but most of us weren't cosplaying on our Twitch streams, right?
Yeah.
It was multimedia stuff. But Bunny basically pointed a finger at Jenna and it's like, hey, you're not sharing our stuff. We'll share you once you share us, essentially is how it went. And Lena stood up for Jenna and was like, that's not right. I thought this was a group to help each other, not like...
Apparently, it was a group for everyone to help Bunny.
Yeah, essentially. And then try to like cop out on Sue, which was unfair. Yeah, it was just a big shit show and it made everyone super uncomfortable. And after that, she straight, I'm gonna leave so I can focus on Sue. Just dipped after that.
Which speaks to the fact once again I'm going into that pattern. Her having an idea but getting cold feet when she realizes that there's actual work that needs to be done to see the realization of that idea.
Yeah. And it didn't help that she had this weird, I mean, she was trying to groom me to be Jenna, all right? So she had this targeted animosity towards her. And who I don't know why she thought it was okay for her to do that in a group of mixed people, you know what I mean? Like that no one would say anything. At that point I was pretty much fucking like just defeated, I was still hurt, I was still upset, and oh yeah, watching that just go down, I'm like, oh, this is in the implosion to bail. We fucked too many people over. It's time to leave. But yeah, I guess she also tried to like privately apologize to Jenna and try to like kiss her ass a little. And it's like, ooh.
Probably because of something that I had noticed. Because with the first apology, Jenna and a few others had pointed out, wait, there's somebody else whose name is on this Google Doc, and is actively editing it at the time of a screenshot being taken.
Yep.
Jenna makes note of this, and then shortly afterwards, she ends up being put in temporary Twitter jail, but can get out of it if she deletes a certain tweet, which I've been in that position a few times, because well, I can get a bit spicy, a bit. So I only believe in coincidences when I'm being sufficiently paid, and I am not getting paid. So I obviously I don't have any proof of that, but I could easily see her crying to mommy and daddy about I'm speaking figuratively.
I mean, even her fans on her behalf. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Look, one of the rules I have in my temple is known as the 11th commandment: thou shalt not simp.
Looks over at OG.
Oh, not
son.
just OG. There's others we could point fingers at for that.
Oh yeah.
Like I said, I dodged a bullet, not communicating further than I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, and of course Admiral
I'm
Baru,
very
but he's
happy
got his
for
own
you.
shit to deal with.
Oh,
He put himself he put himself into that situation, and boy did that blow up in his face.
He's probably thinking now, oh shit, that wasn't worth it. Too late now, bud.
Yeah, for those who don't know, Admiral Baru, who is a popular streamer of his own right. In fact, I remember Tear of Grace promoted him back in the early days. But he was defending Bunny throughout this whole mess. And then it was revealed that he had his own problems that people were calling him out on too.
Yeah. It's like they were both corroborating and part of it for the slander and the false, like, just lying about Lena to everyone.
Yeah.
Like, he did that. He chose to go out of his way to do that.
It just goes to show you the ones who speak the loudest have the most to hide.
Yeah. And it's like, yeah. And I know for a fact that's one of Bunny's tactics, to go and, like, spread this stuff to make sure they're like, oh, well, I won't talk to them if they're such a bad person. And she's just covering bases to make sure none of the people that she did hurt talk to any of the people she's close to.
She separated them from each other so that way.
Oh yeah, she's
It's
isolating them.
It is. I have friends who used to be in deep with Scientology, and I'm bringing this up because a lot of the stories that they told me about some of the patterns that they saw after they got out, I'm seeing those patterns with her, and I don't like that I'm making that comparison. Like, anytime I have to bring up Scientology in a comparison with anything, you've done fucked up.
She wants her own religion on herself, essentially. Because, like, in her server, it's only about her. You talk about no one else. No one.
That's why I left that server, because that's not the conversations I want to even have. Because of course my whole crusade is the promotion and advancement of independent creation,
Yeah.
which I'd say that I've done very well for myself in that regard.
Yeah.
You have.
Without a doubt. Oh, yeah.
So,
Exia, I think, just summed it up best. Bunny has a cult. Like an actual, not a Haruka Caribou level cult. No, an actual full-on cult.
Heaven's Gate.
Well, I don't think she's telling people to kill themselves, but I wouldn't put it past her at this rate.
Well, why do you think I brought up Scientology?
Yeah. That sells it all. Yeah.
Because love bombing people to try and get on their good side. Check. Fair game to anybody who fair game policy to anybody who has any hint of criticism. Check.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
The belief of the leader is always right and you're always wrong, even if you did nothing wrong. Check.
Oh yeah. Just keep on
dividing people to try and further control them. Check, and checkmate.
Oh, fuck me, check.
Yeah. Also, real quick, thank you to Master Ben for the tier 1 sub. Much appreciated, my friend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the narrative was never in her. If it was not even slightly fully to her favor, you were an enemy. All of a sudden, there's problems. Yeah. She had 86 friends all the time. Like, for the text thing, I was like, oh, shit. Yeah, she was going through people like tissue paper. And I was like, oh, how many people did she lie about? Like,
The problem with that is there's only so many tissues in that box of Kleenex.
Oh, yeah.
And this is where it really boggles me. Like, I don't think she realizes how easy this could have been dealt with. How easy it could have been to make herself more, the people who are the most successful. Oh, Mike Shell, thank you for the Prime sub. But it's actually much more efficient and effective to help raise everyone else up because the people who are the most successful are the ones who help lift up others. You know, prime example, since we're got the VTuber community involved, let's look at Iron Mouse for a minute. Iron Mouse is one of the most successful VTubers, period, right now, especially after that subathon she just did. But
Raise the timer.
Raise the timer. But that's the thing. How she got what helped her success was the fact that she was lifting others up. She collabed with so many other VTubers out there, and she
genuinely did it.
Yeah, she was a very genuine person. Like, I don't think anyone will question her authenticity at all.
Mm-hmm.
You know, yeah, she's got the benefit of having the sympathy points for being, someone who's got a medical condition, sure, but she didn't let that define her at all. It's a part of her for sure, but it's not what defines her. She doesn't revolve.
That's not her full story.
No,
right.
She's a genuinely fun person who loves to, she can be cute and sassy and have fun and just enjoy being with people and enjoy to be around. And she would bring others up with her. She didn't go up alone. If she was going up the ranks, she was taking everyone with her. That's how you do it. She
truly wanted to share the moment.
She did. When she reached her milestones, when she got that 1 million follower count, she had people on a call with her. Some people you probably never even heard of before, joining her in celebration of that moment. That's how you fucking do it. When one of my guys ends up having when Monk over here has a big moment, I'm not putting him down saying, oh, who cares? It's bullshit. I'm like, dude, congrats.
Oh, look, it's because of me.
Yeah, I don't take credit for anything. Fuck that.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, congrats, proud of you. You rock. I'm there giving them all the love in the world because that's what you do. If
they're your friends. Like, what you're supposed to do is be supportive and happy for other people.
Supposed to win together.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's a line from that I sometimes paraphrase from the young Pope. The whole thing of you came from Harvard, which is a school in decline, where you are taught to lower yourself. Here at the Vatican, we try and teach you to elevate yourself. And the last time I ended up using this was on somebody who I was working with, who I didn't care for the fact that they were using self-deprecating humor in a way that was not conducive, I felt. So I made it clear, we don't do that here.
Mm-mm.
If you want to do that in any other place, fine. But when you're in my temple, you go by my rules.
You're gonna love yourself whether you like it or not. God damn it!
Mm-hmm.
And that's actually kind of why we're doing this tonight, because I don't want I know Shelby's fine. Like, mentally, she's in a better place. Obviously, I think tonight we can prove that. But I do not want my friends to ever feel like they are alone. I want my friends, the people I work with, the people who have been there for me, I want to be there for them to show that they are as good as we think they are. And possibly likely even better. All right, let's get to the fun part of this whole night tonight, because we've been at this for over almost an hour and a half now. Let's get to some positivity around here. Let's take the negative of this whole bullshit situation and let's turn it into a positive. Because Shelby's not just some victim of this bullshit. She is a cosplayer and streamer on her own right. And that's what should be remembered about someone like Shelby, is that you are someone who has done her own work, put in her own effort to become successful, and that should be praised and given pride.
Mm-hmm.
I said this in my video when I first described you, is that any woman that can make one of the Canker sisters from Ed, Ed, and Eddie, a show that I absolutely despise, if you can make that look sexy, you must be doing something right.
I bow to you, man. I bow to you.
Yeah, that should tell you the level of awesome this woman is. that she could make that look sexy.
Yeah. Before you get into that, regarding the whole having people not feel alone, there's one quote from a classic that I'd like to bring up for you guys, if only because I feel it's applicable. And those of you who are classically trained will know where this is going. The story shall the good man teach his son, and Crispin Crispian shall ne'er go by, from this day to the ending of the world. But we in it shall be remembered, we few, we happy few, we band of brothers. For he today that sheds his blood with me shall be my brother, be he ne'er so vile. This day gentle his condition, and gentlemen in England now abed shall think themselves accursed they were not here, and hold their manhoods cheap whiles any speaks, that fought with us on St. Crispin's day.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought that's because you've brought up the whole those among us are family, so I figured I'd bring that particular remark up. Is what do you expect me to use? Some Dominic meme? I'm too classy for that.
I expect nothing less.
Sorry, I wanted to get that out of my system.
Understandable
Fine.
there. I'm actually doing something real quick here, because I want to prove my point here, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I have to be a little
God, what are you doing?
careful with this,
Oh God, what are you doing?
but people need to see, if I'm going to make a claim about you making the Canker sisters look good, I got to prove my fucking point.
No, like 4 occasions now, I think. 1.
Yeah.
4. Yeah, 4 times I've cosplayed her.
Yeah. So I
Innocent.
found one of the more tasteful images of her. One that's not going to get me in trouble with Twitch.
Banned.
Yeah. And ladies and gentlemen, this is VixenShelby in action.
Bit of a side note, and I haven't told anybody this, but Jades, do you remember a few years ago when I cosplayed as Narumi Sochiki?
Yeah.
Oh.
You want to know who you want to know who you can blame for me taking the plunge on the idea of actually doing cosplay?
Who?
Shelby.
Thought so.
In fact,
yeah.
After I got home, my DMs are saying, "Okay, find me a restaurant that serves crow in Minnesota."
Yes, I remembered that. That was so damn funny.
Because the whole time I was like, "Nah, I can't." I was like, "No, I can't do it. I can barely find anything that's gonna fit me because tall guy problems."
Yeah. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, this is Shelby in one of her cosplays as Marie Canker.
This is in fact the first cosplay I ever did of her.
Well, some of the later
baby
ones
then.
are a little more risque, so I had to be careful.
I mean, the winter one I fully clothed majority of the time. But
Yeah,
Yeah.
and fans are already commenting on how good that looks. That should tell you something right there. You know,
yeah.
I have to be a little careful because, as I've alluded to many a times here, Shelby and many of those involved in this whole situation are NSFW cosplayers. Most of them have OnlyFans or similar accounts out there and have put out some stuff that definitely cannot be shown on here.
Yeah.
In fact, I've actually full disclosure, I have a Reddit account that I use for, well, fun times. And I follow some NSFW cosplay account subreddits, and I've come across your work there quite a few times.
And I'm surprised. Reddit just eats everything, it seems.
I think I've seen you post in NSFW subreddits. Like, I think NSFW cosplay you've posted a couple times, or at least cosplay lewd.
You just shotgun blast posts on Reddit.
You
So
really
yes.
do. You kind of have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you for showing my little baby Shelby. Oh my god, I've been doing it for 10 years. It's so weird. So
Have you ever heard
weird.
the expression "an artist is their own worst critic"?
Oh,
Well, I like where I've come. You know what I mean? I am genuinely happy how my body has changed throughout the timeline. I've been modeling and the things I have done. Uh, I have enjoyed my career journey. I do enjoy the friendships I got. I've gotten a lot of heartache and stuff out of it, but that's to be like expected
yeah.
to at least some degree. Um, but I I'm happy with how things have gone, especially with how I look. I've definitely changed. My body has definitely changed since that photo to now. And I think it's really cool.
Yeah, I'm going to try to see if I can find a more recent photo here. It's kind of give an idea.
A more recent photo that's not going to get us in more trouble than we already get ourselves in.
Yeah, pretty much.
We're going to Twitch prison.
I mean, Shelby, if you want to send something in the lounge VC that I can post,
Oh yeah, here. Let's see.
we can do that. That way, because
Are
it
you
honestly is hard to
scared,
tell
sir?
what's older and what's newer.
Oh yeah, here I can do that. I have it now separated into year files. That's how far along.
Oh,
Depressing.
it's funny you mentioned Better Place because of the fact that I had both Shelby and Lady K almost dying of laughter regarding some of my exploits.
Oh my god.
Oh
Yeah.
God.
So yeah, the other day like I said, we were talking with Shelby the other day, and Monk had shared some of the stories that he's become known for around this server. You know, if anyone has ever heard the coffee story, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And
It only came up because everybody was looking at me side eyes when I went to work on April Fool's Day.
yeah, the coffee story in particular has become the stuff of legends around here because of oh fuck, some people haven't heard the coffee story.
Oh God, I'm gonna have to do this time.
Yeah, here we go again, Monk. While we get
All right.
Shelby's new more recent photo, we need to share the coffee story with everybody.
Gather
We need to
around,
laugh.
I will
children.
give YGM credit for the fact that she brought up the chocolate story, which okay, which doesn't exactly narrow it down, but point is, don't give me chocolate, and think that you're doing something nice because 100 years ago that'd be the kind of thing that'd start pistols at noon and someone would fucking die.
He's not kidding, folks.
Some of you who have seen Toku memes may remember I used that as a meme in order to beat the shit out of Ghost.
Yeah. Okay. YGM has heard the coffee story, so at least it's not everybody who hasn't heard this yet.
And Exy is like, should I be worried? Yes.
Yes, you should.
So I want to make things explicitly clear. I did not do this out of malice. I did this out of the most understandable reason: vengeance. Because, as the old Klingon saying goes, revenge is a dish best served cold. And I live in Minnesota. So I come into work on my birthday and I see a personal sized chocolate cake with a happy birthday note on it, including signed by the person who did this. Which way to self-report, dumbass.
You've just painted a giant target on your back.
So I had confronted him about it, and he had this look like, "What are you gonna do about it?" And I just went, I could hit you. I could beat the shit out of you. I could break your bones or something like that, but you're eventually going to heal. No, I'll have something special for you. Just wait. So I planned this well ahead of time because, well, one of my favorite movies is Ocean's 11, and it's a good heist is 90% planning. And I had found out where they kept the beans. So I switched out the coffee with decaf, including the beans. I switched out the sugar with salt. I switched out the powdered creamer with flour. And I switched out the liquid creamer with coconut milk. And once I knew I had everything set, I called on my boss and I said, "Yeah, it's a slow day, and I'm gonna be out of town for the next few days. I'm going home." And he was like, "Yeah, it's that time of year, so there's not a whole lot else you could do. So go on." I was not even home yet, and I end up getting a bunch of angry texts going, "Monk, what did you do?" And all I said was, April Fools, guys. I'll see you in 10 days. And I turned off my phone. I don't know. They did send me. There were more angry texts, but by that point, I'm like, I'm in another state. What the hell are you gonna do? You're gonna go down. You're gonna try and find me while I'm in the middle of Dallas Fort Worth.
You can't do shit.
Yeah, good luck trying to get a manhunt out for one guy because he ruined coffee. But when I came back, I saw a memo being distributed simply saying that I have been banned from the coffee machine without supervision from one of my colleagues.
No, they're
And
not butthurt. Not at all.
Well, it's more than butthurt. They were outright paranoid. They're still paranoid. I didn't even do anything this year, and everybody was looking at me side eyes. To illustrate how paranoid they were, somebody brought in 2 boxes of Krispy Kreme donuts, and I looked at them and I thought nothing of it, and I went to work. I'm wrapping up for the day. I see those 2 boxes still stacked like they were when I saw them. They hadn't moved. So I inspect them. The tape was still on the box. Nobody had touched them in the span of 8 hours. And I asked one of my buddies, wait, we had 2 boxes of Krispy Kreme and nobody touched them? And for the record, while some of you might have an easy time with Krispy Kreme, they're not exactly the most convenient place to get donuts in my neck of the woods. Which is why bringing 2 boxes of it would be a big deal. But he says, well, what if you took out the donuts and replaced it with a veggie platter? And that's when it dawned on me. They thought I brought them in and that it was a setup for something. And I have sworn up and down ever since, I didn't bring them in. I didn't know they were coming in. I just happened to be there when it happened. So I took both of them home and I called up my old LGS and I said, "Hey, I got 2 boxes of donuts that I'm looking to get rid of. You want some?"
Jesus.
What the hell was I going to do? Have 2 boxes of donuts all by myself?
No, God, no.
Tried
Don't be a
that.
coward.
Oh, well, if I ever meet you at a con, I'll buy you 2 boxes of donuts and make you eat all of them.
Oh God.
I used to eat giant when I was a little bit younger. I used to just eat so much fucking sugar. It was ridiculous. My coworkers, when I was looking at Safeway, they would buy me these giant cakes because I would eat them, and they're like, "What is wrong with you?" I'm like, "I don't know."
Usually
Go to
people
get
think
my-
something's wrong with me when I come in eating a lemon.
To each their own.
It ruined most lemonades for me, but still.
Anyway,
Sent one.
Shelby, did
The
you find
point-
something for me, by the way?
I did. I sent Icky Vicky. Not
Oh
the new
yeah,
one.
that one.
Where'd you send it?
'Cause
'Cause I think you didn't post it in any of the channels I was looking at.
Oh, I'm
Ra-
stupid. One moment. Wrong
Post it
one.
on Launch
Well,
VC
everyone-
text.
I'll
Ram-
delete that.
Rama Leopard is my coworkers figured out why I did what I did. Like I said, it was revenge for being given chocolate cake on my birthday. That's kind of a dick move. And Exia saying, "I'd hate to have you show up at my door with an M80 carrying cake." I wouldn't show up at your door with an M80. I'd show up at your door with a cannon firing a giant can of Coke. Yes,
It's somewhere.
cannons are a thing. Look it up.
Yep, I see it. I'm actually setting up as we speak. Make sure I get this the right size. There we go. So, how many Fairly Odd Parents fans we got here in the crowd tonight?
Dinkelberg.
No, that's not what we're showing off here. Check this out.
I know. I just had to reuse the meme.
I've done like Dexter's mom. I've done a bunch of different cosplays. I like to revisit cosplays.
I noticed, and yes, I have followed your Instagram, so I know for sure.
Thank you. But yeah, I've been doing Marie Caker for years. I need to revisit Mandy at some point. That was my second cosplay.
Yeah.
In fact, that was the cosplay I wore to Stanley Comic-Con. Wouldn't mind. Yeah, I like to do mostly cartoon cosplays, Western media stuff. I think I've only done one anime character.
Yeah, and that's because you had a song from that anime on loop on one of your shows.
Hee.
If I remember correctly, you're not like a super anime fan like I am.
Oh, I am. I like to cosplay what I like. And I know a lot of people don't do a lot of the like nostalgic cartoon ones. So that's why I did Marie and Mandy, and they're all color platforms. A lot of anime characters are like they're more in-depth designs, not identifiable by their color palettes and stuff like that. Whereas like you recognize like Dexter's mom, Vicky, Lewis, because they all have that green and red color palette.
Yeah.
Along with like Marie, Kanker. I mean, Mandy has a identifiable one with like the blonde and the yellow and the pink look. That's why I like to do cartoons, because they're identifiable by the color palette you use. But yeah,
Makes sense.
that and I like cartoon characters.
Oh, well, there was a point in time where you only had 4 colors to work with. And hell, when it comes to printers, you still only have 4 colors to work with.
That's what I do. But yeah, I like the characters I like, and I like to work with them throughout the years because I look different.
Of course. And of course, the fact that you take them in very wild directions.
Yeah, I did kind of do random ones with Marie. That's probably the summer one where I had the squirt gun, and the winter one.
Wasn't quite what I was referring to, but that works too.
Oh, yeah. You went there, not me.
Hey, we can as long as we're subtle about it, we can talk a little bit about that.
Nudge, nudge.
Subtle, yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah, but that's another thing we should talk about. Like, is the fact that like when we brought you in and we learned what else you do. That's a thing. That's a thing that a lot of people like try to shy away from is sex work, and it's like, why?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, no one shies away from the Kardashians.
I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but you're far from the first sex worker the first sex worker adjacent person that I've had in my temple.
I hope not. But
no,
yeah.
no.
Good.
I'm friends with a few performers. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's.
Go ahead.
You go.
No, you go ahead.
But it's like, just because you do sex work does not mean you don't enjoy the same things as everyone else. It doesn't automatically put you in a different subsect of human. So to hit people with that 10-foot pole is just.
I've spoken with one named Eric Masterson, who he and I have talked off and on over the last few years regarding old comics and some of the old comic book TRPGs like DC Heroes and Marvel Phase Rip. And he rubbed it in my face that he has a copy of the Watchmen TTRPG, which I had told him, I know it's your job, but don't get penisy around me. And yes, that is actually a thing. And well, when I brought it up with Alan, when I brought it up in a conversation about Watchmen, I found out that Alan Moore doesn't remember it or doesn't like it. But it's Alan Moore, and he doesn't like anything, so fuck it.
Yeah.
But I think the point where I was going to get to here with this is that, you know, yeah, there are some people out there who sex work is all they're known for, all they're defined for. But I think
Yeah.
one of the reasons why I think that we immediately did not have a problem with it is we got to know you immediately as a person. We got to know your personality, and that's the thing. You have a great personality that shines through. It's why you can have a Twitch channel while still doing stuff like OnlyFans and CB, is that
Yeah.
you have just as much a fun and charming personality as you do while being sexy.
Yeah.
In fact, it's
And I
part of
like-
the personality that makes you sexy.
I appreciate that. You don't have to flatter me like that.
Why not?
I appreciate it.
Why can't I flatter you? Why can't I, you're...
Didn't any of you ever watch The Producers? If you've got it, flaunt it.
Yeah. Like I said,
just try to enjoy my time.
Yeah, you were happy being yourself, and that, to me, a person who is themselves, who is happy being who they are, that to me is sexier than anybody. Like, any physical body can look sexy, but if you got a great personality to go with it, that to me is far more sexier.
Yeah.
I mean, why do you think I love my wife so much?
Yeah. God, she's so awesome.
She really is. I love her. I love her to death. But like
Her
that's
dice rolls, not so much.
Oh,
always got to do that, don't you?
I'm having-
It's always.
having some PTSD. Oh, fuck, man. Whiff. Ah, fuck.
Monk,
Was
I gotta say this real quick.
Mhm.
You comparing everything to tabletop stuff is just as bad as Maddie comparing everything to wrestling.
I'm only bringing that up because I'm a riffer, and what did I not call at least one of you Wifflebat?
Yeah, I think that was-
Yeah, you called me Wiffle Bat a lot. But it was so bad. So bad I couldn't hit shit. Just sitting there with my fucking familiar, like, you worthless sack of shit. God,
If
pain.
yeah, it's for that reason that I'm a little bit cautious whenever I'm working with in development IPs.
Yeah, that one hated us. Like, it was always giving us really bad rolls. It was like, oh, shit, okay. What
You
we
should have
get
seen the
today?
letter I sent to Paizo. I can't.
Oh, I hope it was good.
I cannot share what I said here because if I did, I'm gonna get Shades banned. But let's just say if whenever I've had to play test things, I have no problem going full Gordon Ramsay if I have to.
These dice
Especially
mechanics
like
are fucking
samey
raw.
stuff, too. Oh, God.
I had.
Oh,
Well, it's the reason why Wizards of the Coast won't talk to me anymore.
because you did your job. Hmm.
Well, I told them if you want somebody to suck your dick, go find a hooker.
Oh my God.
They were complaining that I was being
Fair point.
They were complaining I was being too negative.
Oh no, constructive criticism on the game that you're there to critique and fix. So you were only supposed to highlight the tiny good things, Bildra. Only emphasize that. Everything else can be looked over, right?
Yeah, right. I'll actually with the perfect thing. Like, oh, they're saying bad. They're giving us critiques about our game. Emotional damage.
If I'm working with them again, if I ever work with them again, I probably will. If I get that again, I probably will say, "I will send you to Jesus."
See, I showed those videos to Monk and to these guys the other day because they hadn't seen it before. Even Monk hadn't seen that. I will send you to Jesus. Stephen He, by the way, look him up. He's hilarious.
Mhm. But I think how you. I don't want to harp on things, but given that whole lowering versus elevating, um, I'd like to posit how I think things are going to go in the next 10 months. Um, you're going to see a whole lot of people eating their own.
The
Mm.
cannibalization.
Um, I've seen this kind of thing of what happens when you have when you have both a purity spiral and a sunk cost attitude. Um, the peop the people who feel that who feel that they have to constantly defend are going to get more and more toxic, and
Mhm.
well, nobody wants to go near the smell of a paper mill. Lord help you if you've never had to smell what a paper mill smells like. It's the worst. I would rather be around literal chicken shit. I'll put it that way.
As someone who's actually had to smell chicken shit on a regular basis because there was a chicken farm right across from my high school, I can
It's sad.
I can imagine how bad that is. Yeah, but at the same time, you're gonna see those who need to be lifted up. You're gonna start to see them rise. Like you look at Lena right now, for example. Like the shoujo's starting to work with her now. Like there's a clip going around of Lena basically messing around with Silvervale, and they're having a
With,
lot
Yeah.
of fun.
with puns that make our puns look good.
Oh, but I will say this about Lena's chibi avatar. It is so fucking adorable, and I swear to God, if anyone has ever seen the webcomic Sarah Scribbles, I got such the same vibes from that design. Like, it looked
so
like something
cute.
Sarah Anderson would make.
Mhm.
I love
It's
it.
so silly.
It is. I love it. When her eyes are just like full, like those large eyes she has on it, it's just so fucking adorable. It's cute. And you're gonna see that from others too. Like in the cosplay community, you're gonna see, Susu was already starting to really make it on her own. Like, I mean, she was on Code Miko a while back, so that was a boost. You're gonna see more of that. You're gonna see a lot of these girls lifting each other up. You're gonna see Shelby over here getting a boost from all this. I mean, people are talking about her now, and we're gonna.
And I can be out there. I don't have to be shit, I can't I have to be careful with what I say if people get brought up because I can't talk about it. Um but yeah, I don't have to like hide anymore, which is
No.
kind of nice.
No, again,
yeah.
that's what tonight was about, to really give you a chance to not have to hide. You've got support. You've got friends and some fans who are got your back, so you could go out there and just be the best you can be. And that's the same that goes out to everyone, to Jenna, to Lena, to Sue, to everybody. You do not have to be afraid anymore. You have people who've got your back. Even if you don't know who the hell any of us are, you've got people who've got your back. And now you've got all of each other to watch your other back. You're going to have, Shelby's going to have people like Lena and Sue and Jenna to watch her back. And she's going to have theirs. And you're going to watch every single one of those names. You're going to start seeing them get more and more popular as Bunny goes further and further down. Because that's what happens.
As I have been known to say many a time, and I realize that this thing might get a little bit repetitive on my front, but as Napoleon Bonaparte once said, never interrupt your enemy when he is making a mistake.
Yeah.
I know I should use she in this case, but the point still stands.
Absolutely. Yeah, and as God of Knockers over there in the chat, first time viewer here, yeah, says, we need to see more of the good people in the communities. That's needed now more than ever. And I wholeheartedly agree with that. That's one of the reasons why we're ending this segment by showcasing and promoting Shelby's work. We don't want this to be all about negativity. Even when I do my soapboxes, when I talk about stuff that has a negative context, I take the opportunity to showcase the good in it, like the good things that can come out of it. When I talked about the bunny story, I showed Shelby's work. I talked about how awesome people like Lena and Jen and all them were. And I recommend it. Go check out their stuff. They absolutely deserve all the love right now. That is what you have to do. is don't take any negative, turn it into a positive. If someone's getting put down and they don't deserve it, you turn around and you lift them right back up. And that's what I want to come away from this with, is that people like Shelby and Jenna and Lena and Sue and everybody else, they deserve your love and support right now. Go out there, if you are 18 plus especially, go out there, find their work, support them however you can. Even if you can't support them financially, promote their stuff. Just, you find a cosplay of theirs that you like, share it. Sorry, Shelby.
And on the other note, for the people in the communities, just because don't put people online on a pedestal. People make mistakes, people fuck up, but they also, when they do bad things, like in a real life situation, should be held accountable for it. There's no scapegoat. There's no ands, ifs, or buts. You know what I mean? This stuff is real. It's not just drama. There was stuff that was happening that was super, super inappropriate. Things that were damn near criminal, if not were criminal. This wasn't something to be like a clout chasing thing. This was literally a warning and a beware about what this person has done, and so that other people won't get hurt or won't also fall victim, because a lot of these it's all cycled. I mean, we've seen this happen in other communities throughout time. These people we are not perfect, but also the people that really goof, or well, not goof, but do these things, don't hold them on the pedestal. There are repercussions for stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In facts.
If you fuck up, take the L, learn from it, move on. If you can't do that, you're going to end up burying yourself.
Yeah, quite literally. Kind of like when I said something, I accepted whatever might happen. I just wanted to let people know what had happened, why I disappeared, why I stopped talking, stuff like that. I could care less for an apology. I'm so past that. I just wanted to let my friends and the people in my community to finally know why things are the way they are. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But now with all of that behind you, it's time for you to move on, get back to doing what you do best, which is being one sexy bitch.
I try.
You try and you succeed, okay? Like I said. But yeah, you can get back to doing that and going back on Twitch, being a fun personality that people can love both as a person and as a sexy lady. You can have all of that again and not have to worry about this sort of Damocles hanging over your head. You don't have that anymore. It's gone. You can just now be free to do what you want and have the love from the fans that you deserve.
Yeah, and reach out to old friendships that I had to be wary of or didn't want to make them uncomfortable and stuff. So it's been nice to talk to people that were that I was alienated from.
Yeah. And now you can work with people again, and then you can all work to lift each other up and watch as all of you succeed. Because one of my core tenets here at RVT has always been, if one of us succeeds, all of us succeed.
Yeah.
And that's how it should be. If I have a good video and I have a chance to promote somebody else who's doing good, I'm gonna do that.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and as I told you privately, if you want to share your stuff over on our server, we have a cosplay channel for your safe stuff, and then if you want to post some of your more risque stuff, we've got channels for that too. Post away. Hell, I will add you to our Me6 bot. So if you want to go live on Twitch, you will automatically be promoted in our server. People will know you're live.
You still need to add me, by the way.
I do that. I do need to. You know what? I will work on that after the stream tonight. I will go in there and add both Coops and Shelby to that bot. So you guys, folks at home, if you guys are in our Discord server, you guys will know when they're live.
Thank you, Shades. It's very nice of you.
No, that's just how I am. I like to help people because I'm just too nice a guy. Sometimes too nice for my own good.
Oh, do I feel bad? Oh shit.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
praising people and holding to the pedestal is two very different things. I
Yeah.
love praising people when they do a good job. When my wife started putting out her commissions and I saw some of the work she was putting out, I was proud of my wife because my God, has she grown by leaps and bounds.
Yeah, the improvement's awesome. I think it's really great.
It's amazing. Like, if you guys have not seen it, you know, she's put out some artwork recently. Holy fucking shit, that woman is amazing. And that's the thing that's the thing we want to do. We want to help people who are doing good work to get noticed. It's why I've always loved doing Phantom Paradise when I was doing over on my channel, is that I loved showcasing the work of people who probably hadn't gotten noticed. You know, someone did good artwork, they should be seen for that. That's what we need to do. And you would not believe how many times I've had artists come back to me and go, "Hey, thanks for showcasing my stuff. I appreciate it." You know, that to me is a bigger win than any view count. You know, when I posted the bunny video, the soapbox on bunny last week, the view count was great. In fact, it's over 300 views, which for me is a big win. Like, for most people that's nothing, but for me that's huge. But to me, the bigger success was that Lena came into my comments and said that she appreciated the work I did, and she said I did a good job. That to me was a bigger win than anything. That I did her justice.
Yeah.
So
And I know she appreciated it.
I know.
Oh God.
I actually went into her stream the day I posted the video, and when I mentioned that, yeah, hey, thanks for checking out my video, she was like, "Oh yeah, it was really great." I was like, that to me was a high. You know?
The greatest kind of high.
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely. You know, and that's not the first time that I've had that feeling. When I post about other people and those people come in and say, "Hey, thanks." You know, when I did the VTuber guide on Takahata 101, the fact that he went and out promoted my video and said, "Hey, check this guy's out. It's amazing. He did such a great job on me." I was like, "Oh yeah." You know, that's what I want to do. I want to showcase people who deserve the love.
You got to realize this, ladies and gentlemen. He's been getting a lot of W's recently, so it is an understatement for the amount of W's Chase has been getting for the past few months or so.
Hey, I don't like to brag, but I'm going to take pride in my work.
What did I say a minute ago about if you've got it, flaunt it?
Exactly. And that's what Shelby's going to be doing from here on out. She's got it. She's going to fucking flaunt it.
Yep.
And we're going to be right there to flaunt it with her. Check out this sexy lady.
Oh, shit.
Hey, and God of Knockers, thanks for the follow. Welcome to my madness. I'm going to assume that's one of your fans.
So funny. Maybe. Are you my fan?
To be fair, there's a lot of names in here I do not recognize at all. I mean, there's a couple
most of my friends, like I some of them, their names are different than their like usernames. So I'm like, if I know you, you have to tell me who you are. Quit hiding.
I know some of the names in here are bots. Like, I see a couple names in here, like, because there's always those goddamn Twitch bots that never go the fuck away. But
yeah,
I know a couple of these names of some of my fans. Like, I see YGM, Maestro, Exia Kaiser. I see KR36 hiding in there, and again, I see another name in there that doesn't usually show around my streams very often, but it is glad to have them there. I don't know. I might be tempted to DM him on Discord to say thanks, because I do have, because I have talked with him on a few occasions, but that's only if they let me. I think the only reason I won't is because they probably wouldn't be happy about me doing that.
If it's who I think it is, I remember the last time speaking with him, I had to somehow explain to him what the monastery was.
I don't think you've talked with this individual.
This is what happens when we vague talk, guys.
I know. I have to be very careful because I don't want to out them. They're actually listening. I don't want to get them in trouble. But
I know how you feel.
All things considered. Though, just by even saying that there's somebody in the chat, people are probably already pulling up the user list like, who the hell is he talking about?
Who could it be?
Who can
Let's look.
Who
Like
can it be now? Exia, I have the Promote Me channel on the Discord server. That's exactly what that's there for. Anyway, I know Monk's got a show coming up here in about to record here in about 10 minutes, so I need to go ahead and start wrapping things up here. Yeah, it's been late.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah. Well, thank you so very much for having me on here and talking with me about it. I really do appreciate it.
Hey, thank you for being willing to come on here and share your story, because I know this isn't an easy thing to do. So the fact that you've got the courage to come out here is awesome. So thank you. And folks at home, if you have not followed Shelby, actually, let's see, what should we share? Your Twitch, your Twitter.
You could just do the Discord. It has more
All right, let's pop over there.
safeguards.
Yeah. Let me see. Do we have a link already set up for that?
think I no, I don't.
Really, anything works. I have a link tree. I just try not to scar no peoples.
Yeah, obviously.
Your eyeballs are precious.
Look,
Here,
got
I'll
it,
throw
got it,
Sound
got
like
it.
you want to pluck them.
All right, Coops, go ahead and post that in the chat.
Delicious eyeballs.
Wait, invites are disabled. Never mind.
Oh, wait, what?
What?
Invites are disabled on your server, Shelby.
One moment.
It might be on that. It might be the channel you chose.
Yeah. Let's see rules. White people.
But yeah, we're gonna give you guys a link to her Discord server so you guys could join that. So you guys could see what she's working on. If she's going live, you can see that. If she's posting stuff that's safe, you can see that. If you want to follow her more risque material, you're more than welcome to do so. Just as always, be respectful. There you go. There you go. Vixen posted that for you guys.
Awesome.
But yeah, make sure you guys are respectful, but otherwise go in there, have fun. And of course, same goes for look up everybody else. Lana Lazar, I posted links on my Soapbox, so check out my YouTube channel, see the video, and you can see the links to all the other people you can follow. Lana Lazar, Jenna Meowry, Swimsuit Succubus, Yuki, and Citizen. You can follow all them as well.
Yeah.
Show them all some love. See, maybe you'll find a new cosplayer you like. You never know. You never know. But give some love to all of these girls because they absolutely freaking deserve it. And like I said at the beginning of the show, since I know a lot of you probably came in late, no matter what happens, do not go harassing Bunny or anybody else involved. Let karma do its job. They will get punished appropriately that way. We don't have to encourage that further. We can let that do its thing. Because what we need to focus on is showing our love and support to all these amazing people who deserve it. Give them the good karma. Don't worry about the bad karma.
Yeah. And also, try not to fish for information from any of the victims. It's already a really personal thing, so just respect their desire to
privacy.
keep something. Yeah, exactly. Don't try to get a personal little
tidbit
hook in there.
If they want to share their story, they will share their story. That is their choice to make, not any of ours. The only reason we did this tonight is because Shelby was willing to share.
Yep.
If she had said no to this wouldn't be happening tonight. Rama Leper says, he was just he didn't even know anything about the Bunny situation. He's just happy. He's just glad he got introduced to you. That's a win, ladies and gentlemen.
That's another dub.
Yeah. As Tara Grace once said, yeah, either way, gotta classify that as a win.
Yep.
Anyway, if you guys enjoyed my stream tonight, follow me. I don't stream on here too often, though I might have to consider adjusting that down the road, though I keep saying that I never do. But if anything else, there is our other channel, RVT Entertainment, where we do a lot of different kinds of streams. We do anime podcasts, we've got Toku stuff, we've got wrestling stuff, we do game streams of all different kinds. So check us out over there if you want. Of course, join the Discord server. The Stream Elements bot has been posting links to that all night long. We're very active on there. We love talking with you guys. And if you want to know what streams we're doing, that's usually the best place to go looking that stuff up. Other than that, like I said, follow Shelby and everybody else. Follow Milge the Monk. Follow Akira Coops. And in the meantime, we want to thank you guys for joining us as always here as part of RVTV. On behalf of VixenShelby, Milge the Monk, and Akira Coops, my name is The Shades, and we will see you guys next time. Rock on, everybody! Special thanks to my patrons like Voice for their donations. Pledge today so you can keep these streams going.